Welcome to another edition of the Angry Craftsman. Today we're going to discuss the material test card in Lightburn and then sending it to the laser and testing out our American Photonics inch and a half lens. This video is specifically designed for everybody that buys a laser and goes, okay, it's set up, now what the hell do I do? So I'm going to turn this over to the only adult supervision that I have, so she can walk you through the steps of bringing in a material test card into Lightburn and then following the steps to send it to the laser.
Okay, so we're going to start by opening the internet because that's pretty important. So we're going to just do a quick search for the material test card. So I just typed in lots of spelling errors. Thunder Laser USA material test. And for me, it's the second thing. Obviously, I've been to it before. They also have a little video about their material test card. The video shows the older version of their material test card. They have since updated it to a newer version. So then you're just going to download this onto your computer and then open it in Lightburn, which I have done previously. So it opens with this little note file, which is very handy, that you can do this in any Lightburn file that you have. So it just tells you, don't mess with anything, leave it as is. The only thing I ever changed on it, I think, was that I turned off the air for the engrave settings because that's not needed. So there it is. I am going to change where it says acrylic. That was the last material test card that I did. If you notice, it also says 80 watt. We have two different lasers. We have an 80 watt and 130 watt. So I need to make sure that I know what card goes to what machine. So this is solid maple. M-A-P-E-L. Maple. And then everything else is fine. You can scroll over here. Yes, it's going to show, you know, some crazy numbers when you see this over here, and you'll see, you know, minimum and maximum. Don't mess with any of it. It's all exactly how it's supposed to be. It seems weird, but when you're actually looking at the settings to know what it did, you're going to come to this column here to see your speed, and then this column here is going to be your power. So it's not running everything at 100. See, it doesn't even go up to 100 here. Same thing down here with the engraves. Your speeds are going to be here on the left, and your powers are going to be here on the bottom. Make sure to look at the bottom. Don't do like I've done and look at the top numbers and expect your engravings to come out correctly. So the boss is telling me that I need to make this a little bit smaller so that it fits on a material. So I just need to shrink it down a little bit. So I selected everything so that it will resize together down to 115 millimeters tall. So that's a little bit smaller than the piece of material that we're working with today. I made sure that I have my 3580 machine is selected here in Lightburn. So we always use center for our job origin and current position. It's just how we've always done it. We make sure that the laser head is in the center of our material. And if we need to double check, we run a frame around the outside. So if I'm doing, say, a plaque, I will create the shape in Lightburn of a square or rectangle or whatever, and I will literally use that like one of the tool paths, just for framing, so that we can make sure that the head is centered on the piece that we're engraving on. It's just what works for us. Different people use different workflow and start from different places, but this is what works for us. So now we're going to send this over to the laser. I've already sent it before, so it's going to ask if I want to overwrite it. Yes, I do.
Okay, now that it's sent to the laser, what we're going to do is we're going to check certain things. First thing that I do is focus. American Photonics uses 10.5 millimeter. You'll notice I can't get the AAA battery up underneath of it. I bring the AAA battery underneath of it, and this roughly sets it to 10.5 millimeters of focal distance is what American Photonics recommends. Now that I know that I'm focused, I can come over to the screen. I'm going to hit origin so that I know that my origin is exactly where it needs to be. And then I am going to push the frame button and watch exactly where it goes so that I know. Once we're set, as I jostle the camera around, we have an external fan button. So I go ahead and turn the external fan on to let it spool up. Our air is already preset. We don't mess with anything. And now from here, all I do is hit the start button. And watch it engrave. So we just turn the overhead lights off so that everybody can see a little bit better of what it's doing and how it's going. With the 1.25" or 1.5" lens, we don't expect it to really cut through. This material is about 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit thicker. We're just mostly looking at what it engraves like. We would use a 2" lens or a 4" lens to cut instead of the 1.5", which is designed more for engraving. So you also notice we're scrolling through the cut lines or cut layers just to see what the settings and the power speeds are that show up there. Inside of the file, it has it broken down into percentages for wattage. Okay, now that 5 minutes of our lives are wasted watching this thing go, I'm going to wait a few seconds, let the rest of the smoke evacuate. I'll open my lid up. Now, come over here and use the arrow keys. I'm going to move the head out of my way. I'm going to turn my fan off, and then I'm going to come over here and look. I guess it did cut through. So now as I move this, there's the completed material test card. You can take and sand it if you'd like, so you can get a little bit more visible numbers. However, this one looks pretty good for us. We'll annotate this that this was the 1.5-inch lens, and then used the settings that are provided to figure out what our settings are going to be on whatever material, or when we run this maple again. If you'll notice, for us, as I start looking here, 410 power looks pretty good. If you want it a little bit darker, 420, 600. You determine what you like. This is completely up to you as an individual to decide what you like and what you don't like. From there, it just goes into the bin with everything else. If you have any questions, leave a question or a comment. If you like this video, feel free and give it a thumbs up, subscribe. If you'd like to, it's completely up to you. Other than that, have a great day.